right, the next financial misconception was credit cards are always bad. Well, it's true that credit card debt can be a major financial burden. Credit cards themselves are not inherently bad. When used responsibly, credit cards can help you build credit and earn rewards. And if you use them for some sort of side hustle or business launch, then it can work out very well. And it seems like every single week I share the same story here about Kevin Plank, $40,000 in credit cards. Under Armour becomes a multi-billion-dollar company. Russell Brunson did that with ClickFunnels. He said he had his Amex and he used that to fuel ClickFunnels. Same thing, multi-billion-dollar company. Now we used it for our company, which is now an 8-figure company, $65,000 in credit cards. And one of our cards, we started out with a $10,000 limit, now has a $102,000 limit. But most importantly, I think a lot of people still don't understand how you should strategically use credit cards as a business owner and as an individual. What are some of those tactics, Ty, that they really should consider utilizing in what we call smart money strategies?
Yeah, I mean, the only way credit cards are bad is if you're undisciplined, right? If you're disciplined and using credit cards correctly, it's one of the only places you're literally getting free money. Almost every credit card out there, major credit card out there, is going to give you anywhere from 1% to 4% cash back on absolutely every purchase you make. However, if you really dive into it and say, okay, well, this quarter I get 4% back on fuel. Next quarter I get 4% back on Amazon. So you really got to be looking at your card specifically. They come with insurance. Some of them will even insure like your phone, right? You don't realize that, but there's so many different things that come with these credit cards. And in all reality, the only way a credit card's bad is if you're carrying high balances and paying high interest and you can't afford to make the payments. But if you're using them appropriately, credit cards are the best financial resource that we have in this generation, in my opinion.
No question, especially for getting your business off the ground. I mean, obviously, we help thousands of business owners. Some of them qualify for loans. A very, very small percentage will qualify for SBA, and less than just maybe a tenth of 1% might actually get venture capital someday. So 95% of businesses, like, you're going to get launched with either some sort of 5-year personal loan where you're using part of it to pay down some credit cards and using the rest to maybe launch a business, or you're utilizing actually business and other credit card strategies, and you stack those up and you can use those to launch your business just like Kevin Plank did, just like we did, just like Russell Brunson did. And so that being the case, it's about the return on investment. And the cards that we get clients will be 0% interest up to 18 to 21 months. So you have time to generate a return on that money. If you take out $50,000 and you don't have to pay any interest for 12 months and you can make 200% on that money, that's a big win. And that's the smart way to use credit. And then after you're building and growing that business, if you have $100,000 in expenses for your business every month and you make 2% cash back on that, that's an extra $2,000, $24,000 in free money that's coming back to you. You can take your family on a vacation. You can invest that in your Betterment account. I mean, there's so many different things you can do. You can buy a real estate property with that additional money, and that's just free money for swiping that card to pay with expenses that you would have used the card to pay for anyway. Now, the key is if you get $24,000 in cash back rewards, but you hold a balance and you pay $24,000 in interest, well, that doesn't really, help you that much, right? It's kind of sixes. But if you pay off your balance and really you have about almost 45 to 60 days to pay off the balance before you actually charge the interest, and you'll see that when you log in, it'll show, balance left from the previous billing statement. As long as you pay that off, then you will generally, in most cases, pay no interest. And now you're utilizing, you almost have like a 30 to 45 day window before the payment's due, before you get interest tacked on. So it's almost free money. As long as you pay that balance down to zero, at the end of every month, you're not paying any interest. And now you've generated thousands of dollars in free cashback rewards that you can use however you want. You can do this as a business owner. You can also do it as a family. And so in our family, we literally use like 1 or 2 cards for all of our personal purchases, especially travel, which sometimes is 4 or 5% back. And you generate all this cash back individually as a family. And that's kind of the difference, I think, between the wealthy. The wealthy use debt as a tool, as a strategy, as something that generates income for them. And most consumers do not. And so it's that discipline, but a lot of it's just education too.
Yeah, that, and I love what you say there when you talk about ROI, the return on your investment. Actually, we would call it the ROL, the return on the loan or return on the line of credit, because a perfect example of, say I don't have $10,000 in my bank account, but someone brings me an opportunity, says, Ty, if you give me $10,000 today, I'm going to close on this property and I'll be able to pay you $20,000 in 3 months. And I put that on a credit card. Even if that credit card is at a 25% APR, all I have to do is cover the minimum monthly payment, 2 to 3% of my balance. So 2 to 3% of $10,000 for the next 2 to 3 months. And now that $10,000 pays back as $20,000. That's a phenomenal ROL. Use a card for that all day, every day, right? That's what people don't understand, though. As long as you can maintain that minimum monthly payment until you get that return, that is a very, very sound financial and business decision there.
It is. And sometimes we'll find a business owner who has a lower credit score, a 600 FICO, and the very best loan they qualify for might be a $50,000 loan, and they have to pay it back in a year at 30% interest, but they don't care because they know their business. If I put $50,000 into inventory, e-commerce, whatever business it is, and they can bring in, $200,000. Well, I don't even care. I'll pay that interest. I'm making 200%, minus a 25% interest rate. I'm making 175% of money I would not have made without utilizing that debt strategy, that ROL strategy. And so again, it depends on what you're doing, who you are. But if you think as a business owner, if you think as an entrepreneur and you use debt as a tool, that's why the wealthy do have debt, right? They know if I pay cash for that apartment building, my return is much, much smaller versus if I buy 4 apartment buildings with the same amount of cash, putting 25% down, I'm going to probably make 3 or 4 times higher return because I'm using leverage to control those properties and doing it in a smart way. And at the end of the day, learning how to use leverage in your business as an investor, as someone who wants to get their money right, there's no more powerful concept for you to learn.